Hey everyone, it's Ivan, KBadger.com, here to bring you another gear review, and today we're talking about the K-TAC Target. Pretty cool, pretty innovative, here at the Pacific Indoor Tactical Range. So what's unique about the K-TAC Target system? Ultimately, it is a reactive target system made up of 3 different targeting areas. We have an ocular cavity up top, thoracic cavity, and then down at the bottom, we actually have kind of the pelvic girdle represented with these 2 plates. As you can see from the side, there's a lot going on with this targeting system, this being the ocular cavity, thoracic here, and we have these really steep angles with the AR-500 steel, making sure everything getting deflected down away from the shooter. And this being a reactive target, and depending on where those rounds hit, we're gonna get different reactions. So rather than static, shooting at your cardboard target, walking up, looking and being like, okay, these were good hits, these were misses, we're actually going to get a reaction dependent on where we're actually shooting this, whether it's in the ocular cavity or down here in the pelvic girdle. So what's that look like? We're going to go find out in a second. But first, how do we make this more real? Right now, looks like pretty much a crazy metal contraption. So how do we get more training value out of this? We're never going to be presented with target areas that look like this. So the way we get more value out of it is down here, they've effectively made basically target stand for wooden legs. So you take your cardboard target, like this guy, put it in here, and throw it on there. You can also, of course, throw a shirt over it, add that level of realism. And now we have anatomically all those different targeting areas, but they're masked with this target up front. So when I go to shoot it, depending on where I'm hitting, I'm either going to hit the targeting areas or I'm not. But I'm not going to get the reaction I'm looking for until I actually get good hits on those different targeting areas. So I have the target set up. I really want to shoot it. Am I ready? I'm not. 1, I'm a ear pro on. 2, there's a little thing that we need to take care of before we can shoot this to get the reaction we're looking for. Before we put rounds on this, on the back, there's this guy down here, which is basically a safety pin of sorts, in that it's going to allow, this piece is going to fall free, and what that allows is you to lock this in place if you're going to be moving the target around. So since we're ready to shoot it, we're going to go ahead and pull this pin and put some rounds on it, see what happens. So we have our target set up, we're ready to shoot this thing. Is it going to take more than 1 round? We'll see. Part of it is dependent on where the rounds are impacting. Right now, I'm going to be shooting into the thoracic cavity though. I got a reaction. Now that we got a reaction, to get this guy set back up, pretty much just going to lift it up so it's vertical, then we're going to grab the target stand and lift it straight up. Once we do that, we have it set up, ready to shoot this again. So now I'm kind of curious. I want to put some rounds in the head, see what kind of reaction I get there. The way the K-TAC target is set up is, so it's dependent on where you're hitting it and how many rounds. So if I have good shot placement in the head, when I break this shot, it should drop. Smoked him. So what kind of reaction are we going to get if we shoot this in the pelvic girdle? First of all, just like in real life, it's obstructed. It's not like a visual target indicator, but if I can get my rounds on it, what kind of reaction will we get? Pretty realistic, right? It's going to drop because it can no longer stand up, but we're still presented with a threat, so we need to finish that threat with a headshot. As you can see, that first shot I shot, I obviously missed that targeting area. Second one, found its mark, knocked it down. I've just demonstrated, obviously works with a pistol. What about if you want to get after it with a rifle? My buddy Greg here, one of the instructors at Pacific Indoor Tactical, he's going to go for it with a rifle. We'll see what he gets. Pretty cool. There's a couple key points with respect to getting this set up so it's going to react appropriately. One is making sure this whole target stand is vertical, i.e. if this is tilted forward like that, it's going to be really difficult to get it to react naturally, i.e. when you get the rounds, for it to move that way. The way this is accomplished is down here, both in the front as well as the back, which we've actually shoved back into the rubber. You have these pieces which can be loosened or tightened, and basically 4 different points at which you can level this whole target stand. One of the really cool things about this entire setup is adjustability. This coming down is kind of like a rocker arm for the thoracic cavity, and you can adjust this out to tension it. And depending on how much tension you have on there, it's either going to be more difficult or less difficult for rounds to push that thoracic cavity target and knock it down. What does that mean? Basically, if you want to crank this thing down to where it's going to take probably 4 or 5 rounds of 9mm to get it to go, chest shots, you can absolutely do that. Or if you're going to be shooting rifle, again, you can crank it down tighter, totally depending on what you want to do. And then moving this hip piece out of the way, right here is your main pivot point. So again, going back to that adjustability, we can tighten or loosen this, and that's going to determine how easy or how hard the entire target system is moving, versus this guy, by way of example, how easy it is for that chest thoracic part to move, or the one up higher, how easy for the head to basically move the target. Really stoked on this target system. Thing's pretty amazing. On the one hand, just the adjustability. I can shoot and get good hits on the thoracic cavity with my pistol, shooting 9mm, and it's not going to go down until I get 4 or 5 good hits, at which point it'll finally react for me. Again, lending to that realism. And also up here in the ocular cavity, fairly small target. And so when you're putting rounds, if you're not getting good hits, it's not going to respond, but you get that one good hit and this thing is going to go down for you. And while you are shooting steel, and it's fun to shoot steel out on the range, you get that instant gratification, ping, ping. You get nothing back from this. How? I don't know, because ultimately it's steel plates. But you're not getting that audible ping, and what that means is you don't know if you're shooting for this thoracic cavity, you don't know if your hits are good or not. You just have to keep on it until you get that reaction. Again, you can't like mentally score those shots. You have to shoot until you get the response you're looking for, i.e. this target to go down. Where can you get the opportunity to either buy or try one of the K-TAC targets? You need to make a trip up to Oak Harbor, Washington. Here at Pacific Indoor Tactical, they're the dealer for them, and they also incorporate them all the time. Greg, being one of their instructors, basically runs students through all kinds of different drills, ultimately culminating in being able to use the K-TAC target. So putting together all those fundamentals and reinforcing getting those good shots to where you get the reaction you're looking for with that K-TAC target. Pretty innovative system. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.